Happy Friday, Algebra 1. I hope you guys are having a great weekend, whether this is the beginning, the middle, or the end of it. I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. Just review from class. Definition of a ratio is comparing two quantities. The definition of a proportion is when you set two ratios equal to one another. And in class, we did an example like teacher to student ratio of 1 to 12, right? And we asked if we had 540 students, how many teachers? So remember, I told you set these up in fraction form. So always start with your words first. So we're going to do a teacher to student ratio, that fraction. And so we see up here, I'm going to highlight it, that the teacher is one teacher, right? And we put the teacher on the top, and we're looking for teachers. We see that the student is 12 of them, and we have 540. So how does this fit into our proportion? Well, I guess I should have highlighted the S too, huh? There we go. Well, let's put it in. Teacher goes on top. We've got one teacher to 12 students. This equals how many teachers? When we ask how many, that's our variable, that's X, to 540 students. Remember, I said anytime you have a proportion, you can cross multiply, and these cross multiplies are going to be equal to one another. So if we go 1 times 540, we get 540 equals X times 12 is 12X. You divide by 12 on both sides, and you get that X equals 45 teachers are needed to chaperone the 540 students. All right, next example was the 53.5 hot dogs, not hot doggos, but hot dogs, eaten in 12 minutes. And they asked for a rate per minute. When I'm asking for a rate per minute, this is how many hot dogs can I eat in 1 minute? That's what that question is asking. So again, we're going to set up a ratio. We're going to go hot dogs per minute. So we've got 53.5 hot dogs in 12 minutes. And this is going to equal some number of hot dogs per 1 minute. All right, that's what that rate is that we're looking for. Again, we cross multiply to set things up, and we get 53.5 equals 12x. Again, divide by 12 on both sides. That algebra you guys are familiar with. And we get that this person is eating 4.46 hot dogs per minute. So as I was saying, it's a rate of 4.46 hot dogs per minute. Now, we can also use ratios to do what's called converting units. So what we do is we use a ratio as a conversion factor. We do this a lot in chemistry next year. So conversion factors are rates or ratios when the quantities are equal, but the units are different. So an example of this is how many inches are in a foot? Well, there's 12 inches in 1 foot. It's the same quantity of distance, but we're using a unit of inches or a unit of feet. The neat thing about conversion factors is they can be used either way. Inches over feet, or you could go 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So depending on what it is that you need to convert would depend on how you would set this up. So an example of that is if I have 12 pints, how many gallons is that? Well, we can go through a couple steps in converting this. So we start with 12 pints. And we just put it over 1 because it's a whole number. We multiply this by a conversion factor. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the conversion factor of quarts and pints. So there's 2 pints in every quart. So we could either use 1 quart equals 2 pints, or 2 pints equals 1 quart. Well, because we're starting with pints, we see that here, since we're starting with pints, we want something on the bottom that's going to cancel the units out. And so we'd want pints on the bottom in order for those units to cross cancel, and we'd want to put quarts on the top. So therefore, we would use this conversion factor. So we'd put 1 quart over 2 pints. This would tell us that 12 pints is actually equal to 6 quarts, because we go 12 times 1 divided by 2. Or you could even cross cancel if you wanted to. Well, now that we've got 6 quarts, we can use a conversion factor going between gallons and quarts. So again, we need to put the units on the bottom that we are starting with so that they cancel out, so that'd be quarts. And we'd put the units that we want to get to on the top, that would be gallons. Well, what's the conversion factor? How many quarts are in a gallon? Well, in 1 gallon, there happens to be 4 quarts. Okay, so our quarts cancel out. We can cross cancel our numbers. And we get 3 halves of a gallon. This is also the same as 1.5 gallons. So we have found that in 12 pints, or 12 pints, is the same as 1.5 gallons, and we've been using conversion factors to do this. Okay, we can do this for something like this. Let's use conversion factors to change 52.68 feet per hour to inches per minute. Okay, well, you're going to have to do this in a couple different steps, all right? We're going to have to convert feet per hour into inches per hour, and then we're going to have to convert inches per hour to inches per minute. So let's start with the 52.68 feet per hour. We're going to times this by how many inches are in a foot. Well, which way do we want on the bottom? We have feet here, so we have to put feet on the bottom, which means we want inches on the top. And there are 12 inches in 1 foot. That will convert us to inches per hour. Well, now we're going to times it by how many minutes are in an hour. So again, we've got hour on the bottom, and that's what we want to cancel. So we're going to put hour on the top, and we're going to put minutes on the bottom. Well, in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. So now our hours cancel out, and now we can cross cancel, we can multiply, reduce, whatever, because we know our units are going to be inches per minute, because that's what hasn't cross canceled. And so when you do this, you can, let's simplify a little bit. We've got 1 inch for 5 minutes, right? Because 12 to 60 reduces 1 to 5. So that means we'd have 52.68 inches as we multiply across the top. And when we multiply across the bottom, we'd have per 5 minutes. Well, we want to know inches per minute. So we've got to reduce this even more. And when you reduce this, it would come down to 10.536 inches per minute. And that's how you'd write it, inches, this is really an I right here, per minute. Okay, let's do 2 more example problems and then your guys are done. These ones are simple, straightforward proportions. So we've got 5/9 is equal to 3/W. When you go to solve any proportion like this, you can look at it 2 ways. You can either keep doing it the long way like I did, where you multiply across and we get 5W equals 27. You're going to divide by 5. And remember, I've been telling you, leave it as the fraction. That's an okay answer right there. Okay? The other way you could do it, let me rewrite this again so you can see this. As I told you, anytime you have just a single variable here, you can cross multiply and then divide, right? So 3 times 9 is 27 divided by 5 equals W. So that works. Okay, when we get up to this example, we have 8 over x plus 10 equals 1 over 12. Now, when you have an expression with your variable, this cross multiply and then divide is too simple. It doesn't work. When you're in this situation that we have in this example, you have to use this method right here. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. 1 times x plus 10 is just x plus 10 equals 8 times 12 is 96. So you guys know this, simple, breezy, minus 10, x then equals 86. All right, that should take you through your homework without a problem. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Bye.